Come, come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter how you came here, if you came alone or with others, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes, you are welcome here. If you come with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, then you are indeed welcome here. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of New Orleans, a congregation gathered in love since 1833 to seek wholeness and work for justice in the world. I am Margot Anderson, and my pronouns are she and her. And if you are a visitor, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can greet you. As a lay-led church on Sunday mornings, we ask you ministers, other religious professionals, leaders from social justice organizations, and our own members to be voices of hope, courage, and spiritual or intellectual transformation from our pulpit. This morning, we are delighted to welcome in our figurative pulpit two of our own members, Barrett Smith and Tucker Barker, to lead our service and share today's message about the call for queer liberation. So please rise, embody your spirit, and join me as we read our call to awareness and amends and then our chalice lighting. You'll find the call to awareness and amends in the back cover of your hymnal. I'll read the text in regular font if you'll respond with the italicized text. We gather today at a crossroads, the place of many tongues. But we are newcomers to this land.
Our native peoples are of this land, the Caddo and Natchez, the Choctaw, Chitimacha, and Homa, the Tunica, Pulaski, Takahakisha,
know that we gather the spoils of colonialism and broken treaties. Acknowledging this history is just the first step. Where we have harmed, where we have taken, where we have disparaged, just as the flame of our chalice lights, we give life-giving water to earth. Only when we strive to make amends. And please remain as you are, and if the Pixon family will come forward, we will light the chalice of our heritage while we join in reading the words for chalice lighting, Love is Not Concerned by Alice Walker, that you will find at number 564 in your hymnal. Yeah. There's a lot of Pixons, so it can take a while to get them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's it. We got it. All right. So join with me. Love is not concerned with whom you pray or where you slept the night you ran away from home. Love is concerned that the beating of your heart should kill no one. And now please remain as you are and join in our opening hymn, number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People.
Gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm going to introduce the story with the text that's on the back of the book, which just says, "Unearthing the path of our past leads to our future." This is Kapa Mehu. As always, illustrations are beautiful, so please come look at Coffee Hour. Long ago, 4 Tahitians journeyed across the ocean to Hawaii. They settled at Uluko in Waikiki. The visitors were tall and deep in voice, yet gentle and soft-spoken. They were not male, they were not female. They were mahu, a mixture of both in mind, heart, and spirit. Indeed, the leader of the group was named Kapamehu. The gods favored the 4 visitors with skills in the science of healing. Kapuni possessed great spiritual power. Kinohi was all-seeing. Kahaloa could heal from afar. And Kapamehu healed by laying on hands. They bequeathed their healing wisdom to the people of these islands. When the healers had completed their work, the people wished to express their gratitude for the wondrous cures by erecting a monument in their honor. One moonless night, they gathered at a mountain, an area famous for its bell rock, and they moved 4 great boulders all the way to Waikiki. As the sun rose, the healers began to transfer their powers into the stones, placing idols representing the dual spirit of the Mahu under each one. The ceremony lasted a full moon. Then, knowing that their healing powers were safe in the stones, the Mahu vanished. The stones remained a sacred site for many centuries. But as the tides of time passed, everything changed. The stones of the Kapamehu were forgotten, even buried under a bowling alley. The stones have since been recovered, but their history is still being suppressed. The fact that the healers were Mahu has been erased. It is a great loss and a deep shame, for only when you understand the true history of these stones shall you behold their living power. And when you share that story, you honor it. Life, life, life. Long life to the Kapamehu.
Oh, that was lovely, Katie. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning, a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We'll take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. And anyone who would like, time allowing, may come forward and release a stone in the water, either in silence or with a brief verbal expression of a special joy or sorrow. I'll ask people who want to share to form a line over to the side, and I'm going to ask a representative of our caring circle to start us off and share any special joys or concerns from the larger community that we should all be aware of.
Good morning. This morning, I have two people to lift up. One is Eileen Mohan, who, as many of you know already, she's been having some health concerns. But the good news is that she is on her way to a rehab facility where she will continue her recuperation from her recent health issues. So I'm really pleased to hear about that. And the other person I would like to lift up is Marcy Brennan, and there's more about the details of Marcy included in your order of service. And we only just learned that Marcy passed away a couple of years ago, and she was the person responsible for our beloved Labyrinth. And so it breaks our heart to hear of her passing. But we are so grateful to her and all that she gave to us in terms of her time and her talent and her great spirit. So anyway, thank you.
I have a joy. I went across the lake with Margot and Melissa to the first Mandeville Gay Pride Parade, and it was really good. Whoever put that on did a great job, and we wanted to support the people over there. And of course the haters showed up, but there was no incidents of violence, which I was very happy about. And I didn't know if I would be involved in it.
I'm not going to pick up a pebble for my sadness. I have a couple of keys to put in. They're useless now, and I invite you all to bring your keys next week, and we'll all drop our keys in a communal bowl. And I'm going to say it is with sadness, but I'm also going to say I'm pretty good at finding joy in sadness, so I'm inviting you to help me find that joy.
Hey everybody, I have a very deep sorrow in my heart. My mom passed away on April 27th, and she actually was here the day that I became a member of the church and signed the book and got my flower from Reverend Melanie. And she didn't quite know what to think about all this. She was Catholic, and the service that day was Hemingway's 6-word memoirs. And on the front of the order of service, his memoir was "Baby Shoes for Sale, Never Worn." And I had an infant brother who passed, and that just broke my mom's heart. But as a Catholic, she believed more than anything else in the world that when she died, that she would be reunited not only with God, but with everyone she had ever loved who had passed before her. And so I just want to lift her up and acknowledge that she's been reunited, and I'm just really glad she was here for this. It's a part of me that she didn't know a lot about, but it was a special time. Thank you.
I too am lifting up Marcy's spirit. Selfishly, I have to say this was a real gut punch to me this morning to hear that she had passed a couple of years ago, because I kept saying, we've got to let Marcy know that we're moving and how much we honor the space that she created. And so I want to lift up everyone that remained close to her.
My sister had a baby. She's 4 weeks old today, and I'm just really excited about it. And I was really worried because I thought, I don't know, I was worried that she wouldn't like the baby and that she was going to not want to take care of it and stuff. And then I showed up, and she was like happy and playing with it, and it's a really big relief, and the baby's so cute and strong and healthy and happy, and I'm grateful.
Thank you. I'll drop my keys in too. Georgette Ayub died this past week. She had attended this church from time to time. She was a leading educator in our community, big supporter of the Gillespie Center Breakfast, Palestinian educator. There was an obituary in today's paper, and services are this Friday and Saturday.
Thank you, Brad. And now, Barrett and Tucker will offer a prayer, after which we will conclude with a time of silence. And we'll end our time of silence by singing Voice Still and Small. May we remember together those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold in our own hearts.
You ready? I'm afraid.
Our people are dying.
I'm afraid.
Our people are dying.
June is here.
Storm season is here.
I feel like it's been storming all year.
Pride season is here.
I don't
feel pride these days. I don't feel pride when over 40,000 people in Gaza have been murdered by Israel with bombs provided by my government using my tax dollars.
I don't feel pride when I see these bills attacking queer and trans kids in our state fly through the House and Senate with flying colors.
I don't feel pride when our Black and Indigenous trans sisters, brothers, and siblings are being murdered across the country at shocking and dystopic rates.
How can I feel so stuck and so much urgency at the same time?
How do we move through this? We're afraid. Our people are dying.
How do we keep walking?
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still you'll remain, singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears through all the years, singing. Nope, we're holding that. Hi, friends. We are going to read a responsive reading. It's in your hymnal. The number is 568. I'm going to read the words that are not italicized, and you're going to read the words that are. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. More than half a tree is spread out in the soil underneath your feet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving. Live as if you like yourself, and it may happen. This is how we are going to live for a long time, not always.
if you ask me what I need, if you ask me what I need as a queer person living in these times, the real answer is I need to not be afraid all the time. Can you do that? Can you, for even a moment, hold the weight of watching your existence become illegal step by unholy step, of seeing the entire trajectory laid out in front of you with no way of getting off the carousel, of standing for hours pleading to be seen, only to be spit in the face by your legislators, of being reminded in your silliest, freest moments by a gaze or a rude stranger or a loud thought that there will always be a choice to make: safety or self. Can you hold that for even a moment? Can your knees not buckle? And are you willing to?
When I was 14, a freshman in high school, our youth group here at this church led a service about love. I made a plan to share one experience of my queerness with our community. I wrote a piece about queer longing, classic, where I shared about being in love with a very straight girl. While I had never explicitly named this for my parents, I didn't consider this coming out. There were no closets here. My second draft, the one I showed the youth group during prep a week before, used twisted language to make the piece as vague as I could humanly stretch it. Funnily enough, I used they, them pronouns to make my story less specifically queer. That afternoon, an openly gay youth group member asked me, "What do you think it might feel like to just use she in the piece?" I thought about it a lot and did change my piece to the original version, the unapologetically gay version that expressed the longing, sadness, and sparks of acceptance I was actually feeling. 2 days before the service, my opportunity to come out to my family was taken from me when a father of another queer kid in my life found our text messages and decided to tell my parents for me. This experience was scary, cathartic, and confusing. I had planned a way less volatile way of letting my own truth roll out of my mouth. Thank you. It was a sharp reminder of the landscape I was coming out into. It wasn't just First Church or my family, it was here in Louisiana, in a place whose collective values are often quite different than the ones in my immediate community. I finally came out as trans up north in college after I'd been away for a few years. Deciding to move back home to New Orleans wasn't an easy decision. The scars of growing up in the post-Katrina landscape still felt very fresh, and I wondered what I would be coming home to. A city changed by a third round of gentrification, a church community that didn't know my new name yet, a family who loved me but didn't understand yet what it meant to be me. Walking into my college dining hall and seeing a dish described as tofu gumbo admittedly made that choice a bit easier. I know. The things I didn't expect upon returning home included the rise of fascism and white supremacy orchestrated through culture wars in our region. I didn't expect the Center for Ethical Living and Social Justice Renewal to have to close our doors. I didn't expect the South to be used as a testing ground for fascist policies, specifically attacking LGBTQ youth, Black, brown, and indigenous people, and our reproductive rights. Policies were so bad when I left that I naively didn't think they could get worse. What I also didn't expect, though, was the resistance. While working in gender-affirming care at Crescent Care, I fell into a coalition called LOCAL, or Legislative Organizing Coalition for All LGBTQ Louisianans. We love an acronym. For the last 3 years, we have orchestrated a beautiful, diverse resistance against these bad bills. Through this work, I've built community with incredible queer and trans youth and families. I've been able to collaborate with some of the most brilliant, persistent community organizers I will ever meet. And I've been able to yell at my legislators. Yeah. Thanks, Fia.
Last year, I brought a queer trans teenager to the Capitol to watch the House Education Committee consider 3 bills attacking queer and trans young people. The room was full of over 100 people who came to testify. Drag queens, educators, activists. The testimonies lasted hours and hours and hours. It was a lot of hours. Teachers told stories of students they'd lost. Queer people spoke of their experiences. There were tears, there was yelling, there were arrests. It was volatile. But the teenager, the child next to me, did not flinch or yawn the entire time. She watched, the bills passed, and when we got in the car, she looked drained, and she said, "They tell us these are the people who are supposed to represent us. But we stood there and told them for hours that they were killing us, and they didn't even bother to listen."
Moments like the day that Barrett described have forced me to learn some hard lessons. Spilling your raw truth out of your body, laying it on the lap of a legislator who stares back at you blankly, almost smirking, and then watching her vote against your own human rights is a devastating feeling. That flavor of grief has taught me I can't do it all. I can't show up for every bill hearing in Baton Rouge. I can't organize around this as consistently as the work requires of us, or as quickly as the far-right forces in this state are moving. I can't keep up. I would die doing it. In a way, the Capitol is easy. It's legible resistance. It's literally live streamed. It works within a system unwilling to change. And we almost always know the outcome. We need more than legislative advocacy, especially now that we have a white supremacist, fascist, transphobic rat for a governor. I'll say it again, thank you. So yes, we need big things, we do. We need abolition of the prison industrial complex. We need a shift to a solidarity economy, like worker-owned cooperatives, green social housing, community land trusts, member-owned credit unions. We desperately need a free Palestine, Sudan, Congo, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and land returned to indigenous communities here on this soil. But I've learned we don't obtain these big wins without the seemingly small work. In talking with Barrett about this sermon, we kept returning to the language of marinating. It's easy to see what's happening and urgently jump to the quick fix. We hear about examples of racism, transphobia, or ableism in our community, and we often launch into action mode. We want the person responsible fired, or the policy changed, or the institution dismantled.
As I sat in the car with that young person, I told them, yes, the people at the front of that room in that Capitol building ignored our stories, got up and left as people spoke, ignored our pain, but don't look to them. Look around you at all of the people filling these chairs. All these people who showed up in Baton Rouge on a work day to fight for kids like you. Audre Lorde writes in her book, The Cancer Journals, of the networks who supported her and her family when she was diagnosed with cancer. She says, support will always have a special and vividly erotic set of image/meanings for me now. One of which is floating upon a sea within a ring of women like warm bubbles, keeping me afloat upon the surface of that sea. I can feel the texture of inviting water just beneath their eyes, and I do not fear it. It is the sweet smell of their breath and laughter and voices calling my name that gives me volition, helps me remember I want to turn away from looking down. These images flow quickly, the tangible floods of energy rolling off these women toward me that I converted into power to heal myself. The examples she gives of the ways these women supported her after her first biopsy include bringing a mountain of coats and blankets to keep her warm when her veins felt like ice, parking the car, researching, making food, and, my favorite, taking the children shopping for school clothes and giving them, quote, a chance to cut up and laugh in the midst of all this grimness. She writes, "My fears were the fears of us all. I ask, how do we hold each other's fears without feeding them? How do we make the fears of our beloveds our own and still find the strength to hold each other up?" When I was 14, my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer. And the feeling of being 14 and watching your mom fight a disease that kills most people is something that feels a lot like watching my queer family fight fascism. It's an underlying constant fear that whispers in your ear all day, every day, but speaks loudest in the middle of the night. It's an irrational angst toward anyone who asks you about it. It's a desperation to just be normal and shop for school clothes and cut up and laugh in the midst of it all. And the people who held me when my mother was sick were the people of the church. And the people who made space for me to be a young queer person in that church, running around barefoot, writing sermons about art and chasing children around the playground. They weren't the people who asked, "So what are you? Who do you love? Are you gay? It's okay if you are." No, it was the people who asked, "Who do you want to be? What is love to you? Does it seek justice? Is it warm?"
Having gay, trans, queer adults at church, here at this church, allowed my heart and eyes to expand in ways I still can't fully put into words. They never explicitly shared of themselves. They never centered their queerness or transness in their conversations. I feel they simply acted as the type of adults they needed as kids. They let us lead the conversation, allowing us to slip into the big stuff only when we chose that. I'm standing here in honor of little me, 14, perched at a box on that podium, on that stage, in this very building at Jefferson and Claiborne. I see what they needed now, and I see the ways that they got what they needed at church, in our comprehensive sex ed program, OWL, with elders and peers, with shared values, and sometimes shared experiences.
And I am standing here before you as a dewdrop on the web of possibilities that was weaved by my queer elders. Those who shielded me for so long from the grief of knowing I will never have access to normativity. The woman at church who is the reason I knew at only 12 that I would never be monogamous and didn't realize that was weird. The fat dykes who dance in public at a bar holding each other like it's nothing. The old bi couples who moved quietly as leaders in the church, only distinguishable by a certain queer flair in the way that they stood up for us, the young people. I don't know what young people today need. I don't know what it's like to be 15 and watch a cancer that is also your nation, that is also a genocide, that is coming for you. simply for existing, coming for you for existing when you haven't even yet figured out how to exist. But in my work, I read the writing of queer young people, and what I read is that they are yearning for the same things, for love that sees them as whole beings. And yes, they yearn for that love from pretty girls in parks at sunset. But they also yearn for that love from themselves, from God, from their elders. Their poetry screams, "See me, show me that you love me, fight for me."
Earlier, during the prayer, you witnessed us talking to our queer and trans ancestors at the altar. Feel free to introduce yourself to the altar later after the service. These include people who we've personally lost and people who came so long before us that we didn't get to meet in this life. You heard us telling them we don't feel pride these days. While that is true, I do experience sparks and snippets of this emotion. These days, I feel pride when I get out of bed in the morning, when I manage to eat breakfast with protein. I feel pride when I teach OWL classes and see the queer and trans kids of this congregation just hanging out, being silly, getting to be kids. I feel pride at the protests for Palestine. I feel pride when the Venn diagram of my organizing community and my spiritual community overlap with deep partnership, willingness to address conflict, and unwavering solidarity. What our elders teach us and what resistance stories show us is an unwavering commitment to making the work sustainable in the long term. This includes slowing down. This includes identifying what we don't know and organizing to seek answers together, crafting community flexible and creative enough to build something new. This work calls on us to marinate instead of flash fry.
Today, we ask this community,
what stories, legacies, and truths do we need to marinate in to do this work well?
how will you fight for the young queer and trans people in your communities? How will you commit to seeing them?
What are we willing to risk for the liberation of our beloved systemically oppressed communities?
How will our fears become your fears?
How do we enmesh care into our personal and collective practices to make the building of a new world sustainable?
How will you commit to holding it?
I'd like to invite you to breathe with us. Feel free to close your eyes.
We'll start with one deep breath.
Notice the feelings that come up for you when we talk about supporting the movement.
Urgency, helplessness, despair.
Notice the parts of you that long, deeply long for the quick fix.
Where do those parts live? What color are they? Are they hot or cold?
Direct your breath into that space. During this breath, breathe in your commitment to hold yourself in care.
Hold this breath and let it soothe the urgent place in you.
As you breathe out your commitment to hold your community in care.
With this released breath, as we continue to breathe, I invite you to make these intentions more specific. As you breathe in, what do you need to do to sustain this fight?
What does your spirit need to deepen these commitments?
Breathe out. What specific commitment can you make to your community?
On that out breath, envision the wind of the commitments made by everyone in this space. Let them cradle you in care and safety. Thank you.
Thank you both. Generosity is a spiritual discipline. We can now practice our art of giving either by placing your offering in the collection plate or texting GIVE to 504-608-7030. And I think Jane has a little announcement before the choir sings.
Today, today is the last time that the choir will be singing before it goes on break for the summer. And it's also going to be the last time that the choir performs in this building. The song it's going to sing is Thank You, Church. I adapted some of the words, but not the melody, from a 1927 piece that was called Bless This House. And it was written as a prayer-like hymn to the Lord for a blessing on a home. And it was later revived and became a kind of a pop song in the 1950s. I rewrote some of the lyrics as a thank you to our dear church building for sheltering us for all of these years. And I hope the piece can be a little postscript to the lovely worship service that Beverly and Katie and Leslie created on April 14th, which was the formal farewell to the building. Now the choir's going to sing the piece one time through, and you can, if you want to follow along, the words are in the order of worship right by the section that says offertory. And after the choir sings it one time, we invite you all to join in, if you would like, as they sing it a second time.
Thanks, dear building, this we say, made us safe by night and day. Thank you, walls so firm and stout, keeping want and trouble
Gifts to this community of faith are gratefully received. Let us acknowledge these gifts by reading together the words in your order of service. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. Giving in the offering plate and pledging are part of how we steward this congregation. There are countless other ways to serve, build community, and share our love with the rest of the city. A few opportunities coming up. Have you contacted your city council representative about calling for a ceasefire in Gaza at the next city council meeting, which is June 20th? Do you know why it's urgent to contact your U.S. senators and House representatives again about a ceasefire in Gaza and arms embargo? See Linda and Jean at the back table during coffee time if you need further answers to these questions. Thank you. And I want to announce that after coffee hour, which this week will actually be a water hour. Whoa! Oh! I don't know how Edie was able to break into the kitchen whose locks were changed, but no questions. Okay, she went through the heating duct. Thank you. The lengths this woman will go to make sure we have coffee. Oh, that is such a relief. I was not looking forward to coffee. Okay. So after coffee hour, from 12 to 2 this afternoon, there will be pizza and there will be packing. And there is a lot to do. This is the last push before Thursday. And Stephanie and Beverly have lists, so you don't even have to think, oh, what can I do? There is surely something on that list, big or small, physical or not, that we can all do. So anybody who has time today between 12 and 2, please join us for pizza and the fun of packing and sorting the very end. Now I'll ask you to rise again, embody your spirit, and join us for our chalice extinguishing, which is in your order of worship. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again, wherever that may be. Stay tuned for announcements about that coming up this week. Coming up later today. That's right. If you stick around to be a part of this packing, you will surely hear when the Methodists have finished their meeting and let Beverly know. By owl, how are they going to let you know, Beverly? They're sending something, and we'll know what's coming up next. But please remain as you are for our closing ascription hymn. The words are in your order of service.
We'd like to close with a final quote from Audre Lorde's Cancer Journals. She says, "I must be responsible for finding a way to handle these concerns so they don't enervate me completely, or bleed off the strength I need to move and act and feel and write and love and lie out in the sun and listen to the new spring bird song. May we all find that way together. Please turn and greet your neighbors.